Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand final in the Coronation Cup between Splay Buzzer and Food Please. So let's look at what these players are doing. So settings wise, we are on Mega Random and we have the Regicide game mode. So each player starts with a king. And of course the king in the early game can be used for scouting because he's very fast and has a good line of sight. So you should always use him for scouting in the early game, and later on it's maybe a little bit too dangerous for the king. So let's look at what this Mega Random map brings us. So first of all, the players start with 2 scouts. So that's extra scouting information for all of the players and also potential for raiding later on. But maybe we'll see some early scout fighting over here. No, that's not the case. So the players just happy to look around the map, find their resources, and then think about an attack later on. So secondly, we have this big plateau in the middle with a lot of wood and some gold and stone piles. And then on the outer sides, we have some ice and some fish. So maybe the players will think about going for a dock or 2. As for the civilizations, so Food Please as always in red, also idling his villager here by the way. I don't think he has noticed, I think he's very occupied with his king somewhere. So Food Please having the Celts. Celts, of course, very strong civilization. They have a wood cutting bonus, so the woodcutters work a lot faster than regular woodcutters. And this could become handy on this map where we have only a few trees here around the town center location, and most of the wood is in the center of the map. And so Food Please is right away going for the center to drop a lumber camp. On the other side, Splay Buzzer in blue plays as the Byzantines. Now the Byzantines are a little bit more of a defensive civilizations. Their buildings have more hit points than other civilizations. And so maybe he could even go for a douche. It's only a slight difference. So this town center of Food Please is 2,400 hit points. And the town center of Splay Buzzer has 2,600 hit points. But it might be the difference here. But I don't think these players will go for that in this game because there's just too much on the line. So the grand prize for this tournament is a royal rooster. And we've just seen it on a video and he's very lively. And it's a glorious, glorious animal to behold. Now Food Please, he's going for the lumber camp forward, going for the big wood line here, which is nice because you secure so much more wood access, but this could also be vulnerable to attacks later on. For instance, if Splay Buzzer comes in here with some archers, then he could easily deny, or a tower even, he could easily deny the wood line. Yeah, so the king's still waddling around. We can look at the scouting information. So Food Please having a pretty good idea of what the map is all about. You see the huge line of sight of the king, so the king is really, really good at scouting the edges of the map. And then additionally the 2 scouts help a lot here. It's a little bit of scout fighting over here, so some damage done on Splay Buzzer's scout, but it's not too significant at this point. On the other side, Splay Buzzer also having good idea of what the map looks like, but he is a little bit in the dark, quite literally here, about what's in this top right corner. And now maybe he can bait Food Please's scout into going into the TC. No, he does not. Very good reaction from Food Please in this location. He will, of course, try to lame, but he will notice that the scout cannot lame the ibex over here. So I think maybe it's getting time that the king retreats, because it could be dangerous, especially with like 2 scouts and some blocking. Could actually be some damage done onto the king. And remember, if the king dies, the player loses. So you need to be careful here. And now what is this Food Please going for? A forward barracks? I'm a little bit questioning this location because it's not really forward enough to directly. Oh no, it's forward enough. Yeah, sure. I thought it was Splay Buzzer's side, but no, yeah, it's forward barracks. So Food Please really wants to go for early aggression, and so if he produces a few militia, he could really pressure this this line of forage bushes over here. So in this map, also players start with 2 forage bushes and also very many resources very close to the town center. And I think the same is here for food please, yes, he has the golds over here, stone over here, and also 2 forage bushes. So that's a very nice food bonus. Now Splay Buzzer also going for an outpost to see what's coming his way, and indeed, yeah, the militia, the first militia is out, and of course militia not too strong, so I think they lose against the villager one-on-one. However, they can annoy the opponent quite a bit. Now Food Please losing a lot of HP on the scout. And just with 1 scout, 1 militia, there's not too much he will be able to do. However, he denies a lot of idle, or he forced a lot of idle time on Splay Buzzer's behalf, and I think the momentum right now is really clearly in the favor of Food Please. Although he does lose 1 militia, now 1 villager of Splay Buzzer getting picked, the scout is being lost, another villager of Splay Buzzer will be picked here maybe if Food Please notices, but he does not notice. Yeah, I don't know how this one pans out. We can look at the villager numbers, and yeah, it's pretty clearly in favor of Splay Buzzer. So yes, the momentum is on the side of Food Please, but yeah, he's not able to capitalize on that. However, Splay Buzzer again doing the classical mistake. You should never leave a villager of Food Please alive, because this villager is on 2 HP, just needs 1 more hit, but it still can do everything it can do with full HP. So basically, once Food Please is up to feudal age, he will just drop a tower here and be super annoying. And that's one of the mistakes you can never do against Food Please. Now over here we have some militia fighting going on. And I'm not sure who's coming out on top, but I think Splay Buzzer really getting the better engagement over here. He has now 3 militia, and maybe you should just chase this 1 militia away with 1 of them and just go forward himself. I mean, there's a juicy wood line over here that can be attacked, and that would quite, yeah, even the score between those players. Speaking of score, you see that Food Please is ahead, but I think that's largely due to scouting, because villager-wise, Splay Buzzer is ahead. He has also more military, so really there is no reason that Food Please should be ahead here in score. So both players still in the Dark Age, and so Splay Buzzer really far away from clicking up actually, so he has very little food. Food Please, same problem over here. And yeah, so now the militia are coming in. Unfortunately, Splay Buzzer not noticing that the lumber camp is vulnerable, but still the berries or the gold might be raided here, although that's very close to the town center and might actually be defended. And now we see the problem that we have with this 1 villager. It's very annoying, producing more houses, more stuff in the base of Splay Buzzer, but I think it will get taken out eventually. At the same time, these militia attack in the front. The king is, by the way, outside of the town center, so he's just chilling there. And there's another mill over here, and that's where Splay Buzzer could attack and maybe get some villager picks. At the same time, I think this forward barracks of Food Please has been denied. I mean, there's 1 more militia coming out, but I think it will get cleaned up by this full health militia, and the wall in will be completed soon. And at the same time, these militia starting to annoy the villagers at the mill. And maybe they will be even able to pick a villager if they're persistent enough and microed well enough. At the same time, the forward villager for Food Please has finally been cleared off, and Food Please will gain a little bit of vision in the next age, but nothing more that he will gain from this. And so I think after this initial aggression from Food Please, it now looks a little bit better for Splay Buzzer, who is still 1 villager ahead. He still has these 3 militia in here that he can just go in and out and be super annoying. He now loses 1 militia, but he should be able to maybe pick 1 villager, even though this is now microed away. So that's very nicely done from Food Please, but still his attention is always needed here, so he's very occupied due to these militia. And there looks to be like there was 1 final militia from Food Please who was which was picked off here by the wolf. Now the barracks is walled in, and if you wall in such military building, then no more military units can spawn. However, Food Please now going up to the feudal age, and I'm not sure if Splay Buzzer is anywhere close to that, or he's yeah, slowly getting up to the required food count, but he will be quite behind actually. So this gives Food Please another window of opportunity. So maybe we'll go forward with some towers, or maybe we'll see some other aggression from him. So this game is far from over, even though I think the initial aggression from Food Please was denied. It didn't do too much, and Splay Buzzer is still annoying with his militia over here. I mean, now the deer have been taken. However, I think the militia did cause a lot of idle time, a lot of required attention and reaction from Food Please. So let's see what these players will be going for. Now Splay Buzzer going forward with 2 villagers. It's a little bit questionable because he's not yet up to the next age, and it will take quite a while until he is there, and Food Please is already up. So he won't be able to drop a tower here with these 2 villagers, so they're basically a little bit useless at this point in time. However, once Splay Buzzer is up to the next age, he will be able to place a tower here to deny the gold, for instance, or in the back to deny the stone. However, Food Please really going for a fast castle here. He's dropping the market, he's dropping the blacksmith, and we can have a look at his resources, and you can see that he's basically does have enough resources to go up to the castle age directly. Meanwhile, his opponent is still stuck in Dark Age, not even up in the Feudal Age, so this could be a big turning point over here. Yeah, and he's just 5 food short of clicking up. But now he has enough, and he can go up to the next age once the blacksmith is finished. However, he's a little bit distracted over here by this final militia, and then he can just pump out those knights and just raid his opponent, for instance, or drop a castle. Think about the Celtic unique unit, the Vogue Raiders, which are very, very strong. And yeah, so he will be able to do a lot. And meanwhile, these 2 villagers, well, they're just standing there. They're not doing too much. And even though Splay Buzzer has 6 villages more due to staying in the Dark Age longer, he's really not been able to translate that into any sizable advantage over here. And now that he is up to the next age, he's dropping a house instead of a tower. So he really needs to make something happen here, or his opponent will just be in the next age. I mean, he's already preparing the 2 stables. He will just pump out the knights, and then it will be very, very difficult for Splay Buzzer to defend. However, Splay Buzzer, being wise to this, he knows his opponent has something up his sleeve. So he is also already clicked up to Castle Age, and this advantage is that he has more villages, so he will be able to pump out more units and do potentially more damage than his opponent. Now we have some messy micro going on. Clearly Splay Buzzer trying to drop a tower, but I don't think this is really gonna work here. I mean, these palisades are very weak, they can just be battered down. There's a scout here. Pardon me. And I think that the villages will just go down. I think those villages are already lost, and that's economic advantage that Splay Buzzer had, that he's just squandering here. So yeah, this villager will go down, this villager will go down, and they did basically nothing except for like dropping a few houses in the center. So that really wasn't a great move by Splay Buzzer, like going forward before he even went up to the next age and then not doing anything with it. Why not just drop the tower further back and then try to creep in? Yeah, so that's a little bit questionable, but still Splay Buzzer now having his wall up in the front. However, Splay Buzzer has a big problem, and that is his wood is running out. I mean, look at this lumber line over here. So many villagers, and soon the trees will be chopped, and then he has to go for these 2 trees. Instead, he should try to go into the center. However, the knights are already out for Food Please, and that's so scary. I mean, these 2 knights can do so much damage if they find the right villagers who maybe are already on low HP. Now Splay Buzzer needs to react here. He needs to garrison the villages, but he does not do anything. The knights can just pass through and maybe find some wood villages, and yes, they do, and they do so much damage. Now luckily for Splay Buzzer, he can produce camels as the Byzantines, and camels have an attack bonus against cavalry, so they're quite good against the knights, and he will be able to scare them away. And now look at the villager number. It's pretty even, and the knights are here. The camel is missing the knight. Another villager will be picked off here. Another knight is here. Who will also be able to pick off another villager. So, to be honest, the tables have turned. This does not look too great for Splay Buzzer at the moment. Yes, he's doing the right thing. He's making the camels, but he needs to really mass the camels. I mean, just a few, like, singular camels are not enough against the mass of knights that's streaming across the map here from Food Please. He has a nice economy set up. He will be able to pump out those knights. I mean, Kelp Knights maybe not the strongest knights, but they're fine in Castle Age. They can do so much damage. And yeah, Splay Buzzer losing more and more villagers, now dropping another town center over here, but this knight is still alive. He can just come back in, attack a villager here, yes, and you see that it takes just a couple of hits until the villager is dead, but luckily this one was saved. And now, if we look at the villager number, it's 37 for Food Please and 31 for Splay Buzzer, and Splay Buzzer suddenly being in the defense, being on the back foot. And that's due to him being too late here to the wood line. He didn't realize that he could attack the wood line over here. And now I think this fight could be interesting. I think that even though Splay Buzzer maybe has more units, yeah, he does have the advantage here, so he can take the fight and even clear up the knights that are coming in over here. And it was quite lucky for Splay Buzzer actually, because by that he found the wood line of Food Please and is able to deny it now. So that's good, but still the knights are in his economy, they're raiding, they're doing so much damage, forcing so much idle time, and it's now 6 more villages for Food Please. Make that 7 if that last hit comes in. No, it doesn't. So quite lucky there for Splay Buzzer, who has some camels and a knight of his own over here, and now will for the first time be able to go into the economy of Food Please. And there are 2 lumberjacks ripe for the picking, but the knights are coming out, but there's just streaming across the map. Now they're engaging finally. And I think the camels will lose this because they already have taken a lot of damage in the meantime. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. This knight here actually might get the hill bonus, and it might be enough. I'm not sure. Now a little bit of fancy micro going on there from Food Please and also from Splay Buzzer, trying to keep the units alive. And now more camels are coming forward, and Food Please has to retreat. And now the focus has shifted again, but the raids are continuing. The knights are in the economy, and more villagers will go down. But I think the knights, yeah, they will be cleaned off. And I think in the end, Splay Buzzer will defend from this. But however, he needs to secure some wood. I mean, he has a few stragglers over here, and he can deal with that for now. But in the long run, he needs to really go to the center. However, his opponent also is not able to collect any wood from the center because he was ousted from there by the camels of Splay Buzzer. And now some panic walls are coming up, and the raids now go in the other direction. And Splay Buzzer really putting on the pressure. However, those are like 4 weak units against 4 fresh units, so I think that Splay Buzzer needs to retreat, wait for more reinforcements coming in, which they are slowly doing. They're slowly trickling in from the other side of the map, but his economy was also pretty hurt, so he is really hard pressed for resources and units and everything. Now this comes really down to micro and the hill bonus. So if you're on top of a hill, you get bonus damage and receive less damage, so you always need to be on top of the hill. And now we have kind of a stalemate. I mean, the camels cannot really go in. They're too much on low HP. There are too many knights there. There's also a couple of spearmen in the mix. But I also think that Food Please might not be able to really go out with his knights. I mean, he's probably going to try anyways to go across the map and attack his opponent. And those armies will just miss each other. And now Splay Buzzer has the opportunity to just clean off this little bit of forces that Food Please has, and then go in and raid the economy. Speaking of economy, Blue Please being on 1 TC and Splaybuzzer being on 2 TC. However, Splaybuzzer is famously known for being very terrible at booming, and that's what he's showing us here again. He has 2 town centers, but still he's far behind Blue Please in terms of villager numbers. And I think this gap will only widen if those amount of knights is coming across the field. Now finally Splaybuzzer dropping a town center in the center, which is the wise move. You secure the wood line in the center, and this makes your position so much stronger. But look at the number of knights that's here. That's so scary, and he has nothing in defense. He did not wall further, so these knights will just be able to do a lot of damage. I mean, they only have +1 defense, so they're still quite susceptible to the arrow fire, and we do have a few spearmen, which is very good. The spearmen obviously not the greatest counter in Castle Age anymore, but they can do a lot of damage, and the camels are also coming back. At the same time, camels in the front having to go back, but maybe they think about this woodline. Maybe they're able to go back here. Yes, they are, and you might be able to see the villager. No, he's just attacking the lumber camp, because why kill a villager when you kill a lumber camp? And now the camels are able to defend from this, and we really have an exciting game at our hand. However, look at this Splaybuzzer. Having 3 town centers, he could produce 3 times as many villagers as his opponent, but he's struggling with the boom as always. However, he might be able to pick a few more villages over here, which are coming forward, desperately searching for wood. Now Poop is really getting starved for wood, having to do some long distance lumberjacking over here. There's no lumber camp anywhere in sight, so I think at this point it might be good for him to drop one just in the middle over here. But he doesn't do that. Look at the upgrades. Splaybuzzer does have the +2 defense upgrade, but does not have the attack upgrade, whereas the Knights of Food Please here have the +1 attack upgrade and just 1 defense upgrade, and they can just raid and raid and raid, and those were 3 dead villages already. I mean, Splaybuzzer was trying to boom ahead, get more villages out, but they're getting slaughtered by the Knights, and he really needs to try to wall off this left side to at least reduce the angles of attack that his opponent can use, and he also needs to position his camels in defense here. What a game this has been so far. I mean, it's so interesting what these players are doing here, and how they're able to adapt to these super random maps with mega random. Now Slaypoopy's taking a bad engagement over here, losing all of his army, and I think the numbers of camels are getting, I would say, quite scary, honestly. If he masses them and goes forward, maybe does a little bit of a wall off in the back, he could do a lot of damage, because the base of Foodbeast is still open. He could just run around here and pick off a few lumberjacks, a few farmers even. Now finally Foodbeast also going for a second town center, but Splaybuzzer finally remembering that he has to do some booming. Remember, he did some boom training, basically, so where he just tried to boom with 5 town centers. Didn't work out too well, but at least he's now remembering that he has to do that. So Splaybuzzer will be able to get ahead in economy here, and he already has 5 more villages. And now he also has the perfect counter to the Knights, so the Knights won't be as devastating as they are in early Castle Age. However, in the long run, I think Splaybuzzer needs to transition to something else. He could mix in maybe a little bit of trash units, because the Byzantine trash units are cheaper, so he could use that bonus to his advantage. Or he could even go for cataphracts in the long run, which are also very good against infantry and counter units. So there's a lot of options, and of course the typical crossbow play that one could expect from him here. He does have an archery range, but he's not quite clear what he wants to do with it. So now, for now, he's getting the forging upgrade, which gives him +1 attack on all his melee units. So the camels are getting scary. I mean, look at this. Castle Age camels only having 6 base attack, so they're not great raiding units on their own compared to the Knights, for instance. Speaking of which, they are coming in again, but some camels are there to greet them. Some more camels are over here. Some more camels over here, so Splay Buzzer is getting aware of this constant threat of raiding. So one thing that could be very strong in this position is maybe a castle on top of the hill to solidify your position. And again, as I said, the wall off, and Splay Buzzer really is doing that. He's going for the wall off on this side. However, I think there's still a gap over here. Yes, of course, and that might be a lot of dead villagers if any of the players realizes that. Yeah, Splay Buzzer did not realize that, so a couple of villagers will get lost, but I think also the knights will just go down here due to the camels and the TC fire. And overall, yes, kill a few villagers, but if you lose all your knights, I'm not sure if that is worth it in the long run, because then your opponent can just counterattack, and he's anyways booming. Now villager number very, very even due to Food Please adding his second town center. But Food Please really needs to think about getting a third one up in the center. So that's something he needs to do ASAP. Yeah, Splay Buzzer really does not seem to have a great idea of what he should do. He dropped this random siege workshop, didn't produce from it. He dropped the archery range, didn't produce from the archery range. He's now dropping a university. Maybe he wants to go up to Imp, and yes, indeed, he wants to go up to Imperial Age. But question is, what is he doing with the Imperial Age? Will he go for heavy camels? I'm not sure if that's the right choice in this situation. So we'll be interested to see what he will be going for, because before like going for upgrades, he should make units first. And so this Imperial Age, while it might seem strong, it might be demoralizing your opponent, who's by the way also going up to Imperial Age, so never mind the demoralization factor. You need some units to do something, because if you don't have units, you can also not upgrade them. And the night raids are continuing, and I think this left side is so exposed. You just wall across, keep your economy kind of safe, your base economy, just don't worry about that, and then you can finally go forward and do something. Now finally, Splay Buzzer going for the skirmishes, but he needs a lot of upgrades. He now is getting +1 attack, +1 defense. He's getting Botkin Arrow, Elite Skirmisher, but remember, for Elite Skirmisher you don't need to have the Imperial Age, you can do that already in Castle Age, so I think he should have delayed his Imperial Age a little bit more and should have produced a little bit more army first. But we'll see how this plays out. If you look at the villager number, look at this Splay Buzzer again, he is forgetting to boom. He's like, okay, I boomed enough, that's it. And so his opponent is now almost 10 villages ahead, and you cannot let Food Please get away like this. And that's what I said. Put a castle in the center on the hill to solidify your position, and that's exactly what Food Please is doing. And that will be a very strong defense for his base, so this will deter anything coming through the center. I mean, you can still go through the sides and maybe do some damage there. However, this is already increasing or improving the position of Food Please quite a bit. Now Splay Buzzer is up to the next age, but what is he doing with it? That's the question. I mean, yes, he's going for Bracer. So this will give the skirmishes more attack and more range. But yeah, so far he's not doing much. I mean, the skirmishes, they're very good counter against the pikemen. So in principle, the combination of camel and skirmisher can work. The only problem is that he doesn't have the numbers, I feel like. It's just a few camels, it's just a few skirmishes. So he needs to do more, and I don't like this castle position. I mean, what does it accomplish here? It does not defend your own position, but it's also not forward enough, like here, to really attack your opponent's position. Yes, it secures a little bit of gold, so that's fine, I guess. However, there might have been a better way to put the castle there. And unfortunately, we have an end of game data, so there might be that either of the player crashed or I crashed out of the replay. So we'll quickly check if we can see the game in a new lobby continuing, and otherwise we would have to stop here and then start later on again. So let's quickly check. Go to the custom games, spectate games. And if we go to the Coronation Cup, does not look up. Oh no, here it is, but I'm not sure if this is already the new one or still the old one. Let's see if they have restored. In the lobby browser, Corona Forever. Okay, that's not us. That's some other guys. So let's quickly check into this game. But maybe it's just playing from the beginning again. And indeed, that's it. Alright, so then we'll stop here and I'll try to find the rest of the game. See you guys. Alright, and I think we're back at the right position of this game, just where we left off when we had this little disconnect, this little end of game data. So both players in the Imperial Age, both players having a castle, and now it's about the trebuchets. So there will be a trap war, and here the Byzantines do have an advantage early on because they have this really large HP boost, so 6,700 hit points there for the Byzantine castle and only 4,800. However, they don't get all the upgrades for the buildings, so I think if you have fully upgraded buildings due to the how the armor works, I think you can easily compete with a Byzantine castle. However, in the beginning, it's really no chance, and I think even later on it's going to be difficult. Buzzer in the meantime having walled off here with stone walls, so I think that makes sense because he has the castle on the side, so it makes sense to really prevent this angle of attack. So something I'm a little bit worried about or interested in is that neither player have tried to utilize any of the fish that's down here. So both players really saying, okay, let's just forget about that, let's not bother with it, let's just go for all-out land attack. And now the Woad Raiders are coming out, and they're very fast infantry unit, they're a unique unit of the Celts, and they can be very strong, they can be easily used to raid due to their fast speed, and as you've seen, they can just easily be used to destroy the enemy trebuchets. So one counter that Splaybuster could use here is the cataphracts. However, he needs the build time of his castles also to get more trebuchets out. Another counter would be to go for knights. And I think that's what he's doing here. So knights, obviously, 1v1, they are stronger than the Woad Raiders. However, Woad Raiders are still pretty cheap, so it's usually always a good option, basically, when you're fighting as the Celts, because they just they're just so fast, just so mobile, they can just easily like go in and out. I mean, look at this force. He does not have the elite upgrade yet, but he does have all the defense upgrades, has 2 attack upgrades, so they are very strong. Now we do have a little bit of a trap war going on over here. I think Splaybuster needs to realize that he's not repairing. He's now finally clicking, I guess. No, I don't know what this villager is doing, and she's just going forward, brave woman, but she's just getting destroyed by the castle fire. And now this does not look too good for Splaybuster. Yes, he teched into Heavy Camel, but what's Heavy Camel going to do against Pikeman and Woad Raider? It's just the wrong tech. I think you need more of the cataphracts, but of course they also need their upgrades. So cataphracts have the unique advantage that they basically negate bonus damage. So even though you would think that like pikemen are very good against them, due to the negation of the bonus damage, the pikemen are not too strong actually against the cataphracts. But yeah, the camel rider, I mean, I think heavy camel is also pretty expensive upgrade. They just get +1 base attack and maybe 20 hit points here, I guess. So yeah, heavy camel not being too strong of an upgrade, especially against this unit composition, so you don't gain a lot. And you know that the Celt player is probably not going for knights in the late game, because the Celts just have better options. They have the nice siege, they have the infantry, so it's unlikely that they would go for the knights. Yeah, and look at this little army here, and that's just because he went to Imperial Age early, did not think about like what is his plan, what is he going to do, and so he's really struggling. And now the castle will be trapped down, I think, and even his units are getting caught in a bad fight. The skirmishes will be cleaned up. I mean, the Woad Raiders just destroy the skirmishes. One villager repair or a couple of villagers repairing won't be enough, and I think this castle will go down. And that's this not so great positioning that he has here. I mean, there is another castle behind, but it's just, I don't think it's enough. And he also needs the castle to produce the cataphracts, which he desperately needs to counter this infantry army. But now finally he seems to have a few cataphracts. They have the bonus damage against the infantry, they have the less penalty from the pikeman attacks. However, here he maybe should regroup again and really go for a group attack against the enemy units. Also, he needs a lot of upgrades. He needs Logistica, for instance, which is trample damage against infantry. Meanwhile, the heavy camels actually doing some nice raiding over here, so I like that. But here you can see they only have, even with the upgrades, only 9 damage, so they're basically doing less damage against the villager than even scouts in the Castle Age, which don't have any upgrades. And now again we see the definitive edition problem, like the units focus on buildings instead of enemy villages, which I really don't like. And yeah, look at this heavy camel, it's just going back and forth. Well, do I want to attack the village? No, let's not attack the villager. Let's just attack the mining camp over here. Yeah, so that's not really really good. So I think that it looks like Splaybuster has stabilized. However, he needs all of those crucial upgrades. Villager-wise, it's pretty even. It's a slight advantage for Food Please. However, some of them are idle. If you look at that, Food Please has 18 idols, Splaybuster has 10 idols. So in effective economy, Splaybuster seems to be ahead, and there's also gonna be 2 more dead villagers here for Food Please. And yeah, this army, if he can mass enough cataphracts, this can destroy the entire army of whatever Food Please produces here. However, what I don't like is that they're kind of on this downhill slope over here. So if his opponent engages, he will have the downhill disadvantage. Now there's another castle over here of Food Please. So map control wise, it's pretty even. This side is more in the favor of Splaybuster, this side is more in the favor of Food Please. Food Please now having a town center over here. Splaybuster so far being content with just having some lumber camp, which is probably enough over here. And now the halberdier upgrade is in, and I think that Food Please wants to test the waters, wants to see if he can maybe do something against these cataphracts. I'm not sure if Splaybuster has the upgrades, and he's just, look, that's what I meant, like he's in a bad position here. He just needs to be somewhere else, and he really needs to put on damage onto those pikemen. And now don't fight uphill, that's not very good. And he's now trying to save his castle, understandably, but I don't think he will be able to without like taking huge losses. And instead he needs to like get up another castle in the back, get the Logistica upgrade and the Elite upgrade if possible. I mean, that's a lot of money you need to spend, even though I think the upgrade has become cheaper. But yeah, it's just not enough. The trebuchets will just force their way through, and I don't think that Splaybuster has too much that he can do here. I think he needs to desperately tech switch or put in or make a few more skirmishes to counter this mass of pikemen. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's still missing the chemistry upgrade here. But still, skirmishers having an attack bonus against all of these halberdiers, so that's actually very good for Splaybuster that he's going for the skirmishers. But still, I think in the long run the winning move would be to maybe get another castle, and then especially with the stone that he has over here, and then try to go for these crucial upgrades. However, at the moment there are just like so many trebuchets with a scary defense force over here, that this is gonna be difficult. And look at this, Splaybuster, as I suspected, did not have ballistics. That at this stage of the game, that's pretty bad, because that's why these skirmishers keep on missing, because they just, yeah, they don't have the necessary upgrades. And now Splaybuster will be forced back further and further. However, one decisive fight could even turn this around. I mean, Food Please now being in a decisive score lead. However, if Splaybuster gets the upgrades, gets enough army, he could actually turn this around. I mean, those are just halberdiers, and if the halberdiers get cleaned up significantly, which you can do actually with the cataphracts, even though the elite would be required here, I guess. I think that's going to be costly for Splay Buzzer, but yeah, you see cataphracts not so bad against the halberdiers, even though they really miss the upgrades there. And yeah, Splay Buzzer needs a few more of the skirmishes to really deal with this mass of halberdiers, because there's still a lot of them in there, so he cannot quite engage. But this could be a turnaround in the game if he manages to clean up this mass of halberdiers, which he actually might be able to do if the castle would fire on them. I think that's something that's also target priority has always been a problem here. And will the chemistry upgrade complete? Just about complete. +1 damage here for the skirmishes, so that's very lovely. But I just think he needs more of them, and at the same time he's trying to do some raiding over here, but again, target priority problems. The light cap actually focusing here on the farm, and the problem for Byzantines is that they don't get bloodlines, so they don't get their extra hit points on their cavalry units. But I think that might be a mistake here from Food Police. He's overextending with his halberdiers. He's trying to end this game right here, right now, and this could be the decisive battle. But I think the Splay Buzzer needs to make sure that he does not lose everything in the process, and that he just spams out those skirmishes, which can actually defeat the halberdiers. I mean, he will lose this castle anyways, and that does not look good for Splay Buzzer. He loses the castle, he loses all his cataphracts. His opponent still has an army going on, and I think this is now Food Police's game to lose. I mean, he has the momentum, he has the army advantage, and that was because Splay Buzzer did not produce army in the meantime. He was just like, okay, I'll go up to Imp and then figure something out, but yeah, he did not figure it out. And now he's again fighting uphill. And yeah, with the skirmishes in close quarters uphill, that's not a good fight to take. And I think GG could be coming in soon, and it might actually be an early lead for Food Police. He was very cocky before this game, and now yeah, seems like he had a reason to be cocky, because he really is able to deliver here, able to put a lot of pressure on his opponent. Even though, surprisingly, the Glide Cavalry is pretty weak against the elite skirms. I must say, I'm surprised. You would think the Light Cap very good against the skirms, but without the upgrades, whereas the elite skirms, they have all the upgrades, basically. So they're very good. And remember, one thing is going for Splay Buzzer, and that is the skirmishes are cheap. So as long as he does have the production buildings and has the economy, which he needs to really expand on this side, but space is getting cramped over here. But as long as he does have the economy and can spam out those trash units, he's actually could actually be defending from this. Even though now that the trebuchets are getting involved, and the trebuchets are actually sniping units, and still there's a mass of halberdiers here, so that's very difficult to move in and really take out the traps. But I think if not enough reinforcements are coming in, I mean, they're trickled in, so that's good for Food Police, but yeah, the light cap just not being as good as you would hope against the skirmishes due to the lack of the upgrades. And that's the Celts. I mean, they're not the greatest cavalry civilization. I think they also lack bloodlines, and that's exactly the reason why yeah, skirmishes can counter light cap apparently. Yeah, and now look at the position. Splay Buzzer fighting his way back, and will be able to put a lot of damage onto those trebuchets, and in the end he might be able to take them out, or at least force them to retreat. And Splay Buzzer will be able to creep forward, solidify his position. I mean, he immediately needs to act. He needs to drop a town center, needs to drop some military buildings here, and at the same time he needs to produce, so that's a tall order, so he needs to do a lot at the same time. Population-wise, are both players, Splay Buzzer at 120, Food Police at 140, so Food Police does have the advantage. He also has 20 more villages, but if he just sacrifices units all the time, then it's really no good for him. But right now there seems to be a kind of a stall in the flood of units from Buzzer, who stopped producing for a moment, and this gives his opponent time to retreat and yeah, get his army back together. And now also finally Food Please having the Hussar upgrade, which gives these units more hit points, 17 more hit points, and I think that makes them much stronger against the skirmishes, and that's exactly what we see here. And now also the raiding can begin. Food Please will be able to raid here, but counter Hussars are actually in. So very interesting. So basically like trash Hussars from both sides. But look at this now. The flood comes in again in the center, and there's no units here left for Buzzer, and Buzzer is now below 100 pop. Food Please above 180 pop, and I think the game will be over soon. I mean, I cannot imagine this to go on for very long, to be honest. Yeah, what a game! I think Buzzer really did not know what to do. To be honest, with the Byzantines, he was like, "Well, what do I do?" I mean, so he was kind of confused. He didn't know what to go for, even though they have so many options. I mean, we can have a quick look at the tech tree. So he could even go for hand cannons together with his when he had the camels. But I think, for instance, the heavy camel upgrade, not so great as an upgrade there, because there really weren't any knights anymore, and it was all about depending from the halberdiers and then road raiders especially. So he had the right idea with the cataphracts, but it was just too little too late. He was missing all the upgrades, and I think that's the final push from Food Please. There's really no economy or no space for Buzzer left anymore. The Hussars are in for the raids, and I think it's gonna be GG soon, very soon. If Buzzer maybe he just wants to do a little bit of like warm up again. I mean, yes, he lost the first game, but it's the best of 7, so it's easy to just like do a little bit of warm up exercises here again. I mean, he knows he has lost, but he can still keep this going just to get into the right mindset, get into the right mood, train his fingers, train his thoughts, think about the situation, and then tap out and go into the next game, and then maybe turn around the series. But I think that this game is over. I mean, look at the populations. Players are at 40 population, 39, rapidly declining. At this point I'm not quite sure what he's waiting for, but maybe he's just like talking to his wife or like doing something else. Now finally GG is called. Food Please wins game 1 of the grand final in the Coronation Cup, and what a game it was. That was just amazing, just mind-blowing what these players were able to do here. Early aggression on both sides, back and forth, each player having at one point a lead against the other player, and in the end Food Please just coming out on top. We can have a quick look at the statistics, and then we're gonna jump right into the next game. You see that's pretty even across the whole game, but I think it was always, well, kind of in the lead, or kind of an advantage for Food Please. And I think here, I think that Buzzer just needed more military first, because Food Please was always having a lot of military, and that might have been the downfall of Buzzer. Alright, what a game this was. My name is Peter Host, and I see you in the next one.